the session. Okay, so basically starting with exam prep for you. So we are going to work through a few examples today, so that hopefully some of us might then assist you guys when you are writing exam. So the first few we are going to look at questions around measurements. So, and just to then get some of those measurements and questions looked at. So the first one, we're looking at a sketch where they give us a triangle. At the top, they give us a square at the bottom with a semicircle. And then they ask us to calculate the perimeter of the shaded area. So if we look at what we need to calculate the perimeter of a shaded part of a figure. So those two components, the length of that we know, so that will be fine. We know what this length is. We will know what this length is, so that will also be 12 centimeters. And then we need to find out what is this semicircle that we are working with here. Okay, so that is the important component, but it's a bit more difficult to work out. So let's just start with what we have. So if we want to quickly just put all of those together, we've got a 12 and we've got a 12. Okay, so now we want to get that semicircle. So remember, perimeter of a circle is 2 pi radius, but then that would be for whole circle. We're only working with half of it, so we will need to divide by 2. So that half circle, the perimeter is 2 pi radius divided by 2. And then if we know that the length of that is 18, halfway through that will be 9. That will be 9, so we know that the radius is 9. So we can substitute the radius with 9. So that is the 5 components that we need to add up to get to the total of the perimeter. Okay, so it is 2 times pi, and it's on your calculators. For pi is normally, else it is 22 divided by 7 times 9 divided by 2. So if we work out this component, that would be 28.28. So we've got 28.28 plus 12 plus 12 plus 16.1 plus 8.1, which will give us a total of 76.48, which is close enough to a 76.47. Okay, so first we will need to nearly work out what is that perimeter of a semicircle. But remember, perimeter of semicircle or of a circle is 2 pi radius. So if we want to get half of that, it's 2 pi radius divided by 2. And then the other components we all had, so we just add all of them together to get to 76.48. So that is how we will get it. So the important one in here was that we needed to work out what is the perimeter of a semicircle. Okay. We will get more of that. So okay, so now with the same information, they ask us a different question. So now they ask us what is the area of a shaded region. Okay, so now we need to get a few things. So first we will need to work out what is the area of a triangle. So that will be our first one, area of a triangle. Then we're gonna add the area of an orange component. And then we need to subtract the component of a semicircle. Okay, so that is how we're going to work this out. So area of the triangle plus the area of a square minus the area of the semicircle will give us the total area that we're looking for. So first the triangle. So if we go for the formula of a triangle, it's half base times height. So it is half the base we have, it's 18. Even if I don't give it to us at the top, we know it's the same as AD is the same as BC. So we've got the base as 18. We've got the height here as 6. So that is the area that we have for the triangle. Okay, so that's that area covered. Then we take that full area first of this component. Okay, so it was 12 times 18. Just want to, 12 times 18. Okay, so that's the area of the square that we have, and then we need to subtract the area of a semicircle. So again, area of a circle is pi radius to a power of 2. So of a semicircle, it's just divided by 2. We want to that component up. So we sit with pi. The radius again is 9 times 2 divided by 2. Okay, so let's work those components out. So 0.5 times 18 times 6 is 54 for the triangle. Then it is 12 times 18, 216 for the square, and then pi times radius divided by 2 is, I get that we need to subtract 127.28. So hopefully we get something close to that. So if we say 54 plus 216 minus 127.28, we get 142, I get 0.71, which is very close to that one. So again, I think it's just with a pi that I'm using. So the answer is for 142.77. Okay, so again, basically using the same picture as question 1. Here, instead of a perimeter, we needed to work out the area component. Okay, so again, this will be step by step that you need to work out. There's not just the easy way to say, okay, we can just work it out with one go. You unfortunately need to break it up a bit into differences. Okay, so you first need to do a triangle, then you need to do the square, and then you need to subtract the semicircle. Okay, so let's see what else. Okay, so now we're doing a bit of a combination of measurements, then linking it back to liters. So you're basically going from volume back into a conversation of liters. So let's first work out, and then we can convert the centimeter cube into a liters one. So okay, so let's see what we have. A plastic rectangle container with length of 40, breadth of 30, height of 10. It contains 12 identical cans with a diameter of 10 centimeters. So each one of them is 10 centimeter and a height of 10 centimeter. The remaining space is filled with cold water to keep the cans cool. How much water is required? So they just want us to work out how much goes in between the cans. Okay, so first we need to work out what is the cube, and then we will subtract 12 of the cans, basically. Okay, so the cube is length times breadth times height, which is 30 times 10 times 40. Okay, so that is 12,000. And then we are subtracting 12 of the cylinders or cans. So that is pi radius squared times height. So 12 of them. So let's just see if we okay, so it's 12 times pi radius. So they told us each of these have a diameter of 10. So diameter is for whole length, so radius is half of it. So that will be 5. And you can really just check. So if we had those 5s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 times 5 is 30. So you will get that length if we did it across here as well. It would have been 10, 10, 10, 10, which would also give us the 40. Okay, and then the height is also 10. So if we subtract that, it is pi times 25 times 10 times 12. So I get that we're going to subtract it by 9428.6. So we can probably just round that off to 9429. So that is, if we then work that component out, it is 2571 cubic centimeters. And then how do we get from centimeters to liters? So we will need to divide by 1,000. So if we divide that number by 1,000, we will get to 2,571 liters, which is the closest to the 2,58 liters. Okay, so first we work out the volume of a square, then we work out what is the volume of the cans, and then we need to fill the areas in between. Ooh, okay, let me just save before. So we need to fill in the areas all in between with water. So how do we get that, basically the difference between the two. So then when we get our cubic centimeter, how to go from cube to liters. So um, we basically divide by 1,000. Okay, so, and I will again share with you guys all the, it was in one of the presentations, so I will just put in a shortcut again to show you how to get from the one to the other, but a very easy way is to look at it. 1 liter is equal to 1,000 cubic centimeters. So how to move from there to liters, you basically divide by 1,000, but 1 liter is equal to 1,000 cubic centimeters. So you can see if we have 2,500, we will have about 2.5 liters. Okay, so that is, and they will, a lot of the time they would go where you need to work out the volume. They would want you to get the end results into liters. So the volume one, they most of the time goes to have the answer into liters, where the other ones for area will stay the same, that it is the square and the perimeter always the same. So just nearly in all the questions that I've seen where they look at volume, they will normally go from the cube into a volume that is liters or one of those things. Okay, then a question that I also picked up from one of the assignments or previous exams is sometimes they give you information and they then want you to work it out. So they tell us a rectangle has a length of 200 millimeters. Okay, 200 millimeters. And a width of 0.12 meters. And when they ask us find the perimeter in centimeters. Okay, so in this one, they basically want you to be able to change from millimeters into centimeters and from meters into centimeters. So they basically the whole time testing if you can change the one into the other. So the first one that we're going to check is the 200 millimeters. So if we have 200 millimeters, how many centimeters is that? So we will take away one of the zeros. So that becomes 20 centimeters. So if we have 20 centimeters and we need to work out the perimeter will be, remember, 2 times length plus breadth. So we can already then put into the one area the 20 centimeters. And then we need to change from the 0,12 meters. We now need to change to centimeter as well. So remember, 1 meter is around 100 centimeters. So 0.12 meter sorry, let me just quickly work that out. 0.12 times 100. Okay, so that will become 12 centimeters. So let me just check again. When we work that out, it is 12. So then it becomes 2 times 20 plus 12, which is 2 times 32, which is 64. Okay, so, but very important in this one, they wanted to test that you know how to change the measurement from millimeters into centimeters and from meters into centimeters. Okay, so that was the big thing that they wanted to test in this one. And then yes, we need to work out the perimeter. So it's 2 times the 20, which is 40, 2 times the 12, which is 24. So that will also give you again the 64. But yeah, the most important here was that they were testing that we need to get how to change the measurements. Okay, and that is also important, even if they don't ask it like that in the exam as straightforward, but whenever you get in the exam that there is two different measurements, look at what the answer set is and then change that measurements to the same one. So here both was different, so both needed to be changed to centimeters, but it could have been that one is centimeters and the other one needs to change. So just check what is your final answer and in which format, so that you can change it into the right format. Okay, so that was a bit on measurements. We will get to more measurements later on as well, but that was the first component of the measurements that we worked through. So let's just look at other things that you guys need to also be able to do. So again, important, and you'll see as we go through the session today, it's going to be a mix match nearly of all the different things that you guys need to be able to do. So they give us 2 points, and we need to look at those points and determine which one of these are correct. Okay, so the first thing that I will work out is the slope. So the slope is m, and the slope is the difference in y divided by the difference in x. So I've got my 0.2 there, 0.1 there, so y for minus 6 minus minus 2 divided by the x's, so 5 minus 3. So at the top, minus 6 minus minus 2, so that will become minus times minus a positive, so minus 6 plus 2 will become minus 4. And at the bottom, 5 minus 3 will become 2, so we sit with a slope of minus 2. So now I can go and check, okay, it's not minus 4, it's not positive 4, positive 2, not positive 2. So I know just by looking at the slope that my answer would have been option 4. But I can still just check it if I have time, because if I put in any of these 2 points into this, then I'm supposed to get that formula. So let's put in this point. So y is minus 2, x is the 3, so minus 2 equal to minus 6 plus c. And then the 6 will go over to that side. So we get that c is equal to 4. So we can see, yes, that is the right formula. Okay, so this just shows that for that you can nearly, depending on what the formula is and what information they give us and what the answers is, you might not always need to go and work out all the details. It might just be enough to look at the slope, because then you already have the answer, or yeah, so not always needed that we need to go into the detail of getting to the answers. So that also might help you in the exam as well, where you are writing against time as well. So you are only allowed a certain number of, I think it's 2 hours. I'm not 100% sure, 2 or 2.5 hours. So that also then helps in the exam if you have a bit of time pressure, not to always go and work out all the necessary things. Okay, so let's look at the next question that might be a bit different again. So the next one, they have actually, and you guys will see this now, the volume of length, breadth times height. So that was the volume of the square that we worked out. So now I've asked you to change the subject of the formula. So also when you get to change the subject, most of the time it will be around formulas that you actually know. So what they love to do is ask about the volume formulas, but the other ones that they also use a lot is your financial maths formulas. So that one is also um, that they use frequently. So let's write down the formula, and then we can start simplifying. And by simplifying, we might be able to see which ones we need to look at. So make H. So to make H the subject of a formula, we need to get rid of L times B. Okay, and how do we do that? We divide on the right-hand side, so that falls away. So then we need to divide on the left-hand side as well. So then we have H on its own. So H will be equal to the volume divided by L times B. And so here you will also see it, but it's swapped around. So just be very careful because it might be that you see L times H with V and you want to pick it, but just be very careful that option 4 basically is the inverse. Okay, so that is how in this one we change the subject of a formula. It would have been very similar if we needed to make P the subject, then we would have had volume divided by L times H. So with this formula where it's all multiplication, it will normally end up like this. Okay, so let's look at the next one. Now we're going into a bit of financial maths, and I know the financial maths one is normally a bit more a difficult one. So let's see how we can do this. So Braun invested 8,350 in an account that pays simple interest. Okay, so let's first write down the simple interest formula. So they said it's 8,350 into account. After 6 years, so T is 6, you received an accumulated amount of 12,859. Okay, so now we basically need to work out what is R. So we could have gone to say, okay, but let's rewrite it first. So S divided by P is 1 plus RT. So then we could have said, okay, S divided by P minus 1, because that would go over to that side. And then if we need to get R on its own, we will divide by T on both sides. So that is also a way to get to it. So we have our future value is 12,859. We have our present value as 8350. Oh, computer is very slow today. 8350. So we will need to subtract 1 from that calculation and then need to divide by 6. Okay, so 12859 divided by 8350 gives us 1,54. 1,54 minus 1 is 0,54 divided by 6 gives us 0,09. And then if we multiply that by 100 to get to a percentage, we get 9%. Okay, so also interesting, they give us the 0,09, but that's not a percentage. So the right one that we're looking for is the 9%. Okay, so that is a simple interest formula that we used. To get that. So hopefully the next one might be compound interest. So let's look at the next one. Okay, not. So let's see that we just work it out correctly with the information that they give us. So they tell us that we need to determine the amount that has to be invested now. So we need to work out the P to be worth 10,000 in 6 months' time. If the simple interest rate is 9,75%, and that is for 8 months. And so let's 9.75% times 8 divided by 12 plus 1. So I get that 1,065 P is equal to 10,000. So P will be equal to 10,000 divided by 1,065, which is then P is equal to 9389,67. Okay, so the total amount that has to be invested now is 8389,67. And very easy to make a mistake there and swapping the two around. So very easy, one can make that mistake as well. Okay, so still simple interest, but here we now needed to work out what is your present value and not what would have been your final value or your interest rate or anything like that. So that was the one that we needed to do with this. Okay, so let's look at what the other one might, the next question might be. Okay, so again, a financial maths question, but in this one, we're looking at things that are compounded. So that is also always when we see compounded, we know that we can work with compound interest. Helen needs 20,000 in 3 years' time. So that's the future value. What is the least amount that she should deposit now into account? So they basically want to know what is the present value that she needs to, so that she can get an annual interest rate of 15%. And that interest rate is compounded every 3 months. So that is quarterly, and quarterly means 4 times the year. So if we're going to use our financial calculator, there is a per year button that we need to use, which is going to be 4. And they say, remember, it's due in 3 years' time. So n is equal to 3. So that is 12 periods that she will get interest. And the present value then is, okay, so first we can use the financial calculator. So, and I'm using the HP, so I've got a future value of 20,000. I've got the interest rate of 15%, 4 times per year for 3 years, which is 12 periods. And my present value will then be 12,857.98. So we can just round it off to 12,858. Let's just 12,858. So that is option 2. We could have used the formula. So the formula, let's quickly write that down. The amount is equal to present 1 plus RT times that. So let's, and we can say divide by n. So let's quickly, she needs 20,000. So to get the P, we will divide by that whole thing. So let's quickly see, the interest rate was 15%. And let's just make sure. And it was quarterly, so it is 4 times a year. It was T is 3 and 4, so that again 3 times 4 will give you that 12. So let's quickly first see 0.15 divided by 4 plus 1, that to the power of 12. So I get that if we work that out, that it's going to be 20,000 divided by 1.5555, and that is continuous. Let's just check if that gives us also the answer that we're looking for. So 20,000 divided by 1.5555 gives me 12,858. Okay, so if we're using the formula or we're using the financial calculator, we do get to the same answer. Okay, so that is also important that you see that. So it doesn't matter which one we used, we get to the same answer. So please again, when you do this in the exam, do the one that you are most comfortable in doing. Don't, yeah, use the one that works for you. Don't also on the evening of before your write exam now try to try something new that you now need to nearly learn from scratch. So as you would have done in the assignments, which one is the best for you, use that one, please, so that you don't now in the exam you waste time and things like that. Okay, so let's look at the next one and let's see what the next question is. So also we're looking at something that we need to work out compounded. So again, let's just highlight that. So compounded. So how much to the nearest rand can Lerato borrow from a bank if she can repay the loan by means of quarterly payments of 2,000? Okay, so your financial calculator. So we're going to pay back on a quarterly basis 2,000 rand. Interest is 18% per annum compounded quarterly. So quarterly again is 4 times. So how many times per year? It's 4 times. The loan is for 10 years. So that will be 40 payments of 2,000. So how much is it to the nearest rand can Lerato borrow from a bank if she can repay the loan by means of quarterly payments of 2,000 starting at the end of the first quarter? The interest rate is 18% per annum compounded quarterly, and the duration is 10 years. Okay, so let's see, what else do we need to know? So we're going to work out what's the present value that she can borrow. The future value will be equal to 0. So firstly, let's use the financial calculator. So 2,000 rand PMT, 18% interest, 4 times per year, 10 years is 40 periods. Then what I work out is that present value is 36,803. And if we work out what the future value is, it's 214,061. Okay, so, and that is both in years, so that's why this one is such an important important question that we need to look at, because again we now sit with both answers, and if we get it slightly wrong, or if we read it incorrectly, we will get to the wrong answer. So let's just again make 100% sure that we're reading this correctly. So let's just quickly start again. How much to the nearest rand can Lerato borrow from the bank if she can repay the loan by means of quarterly payments of 2,000 starting at the end of the first quarter? The interest rate is 18% per annum, compounded quarterly, and the duration of the loan is 10 years. Okay, so what would you guys have said? Do we work out present value? Do we work out future value? What would you have worked out? Because this is an important one. So what would you guys have worked out here? So what I get out of it is, how much will she be able to borrow? So that is the 36,803. So that is the present value. What will happen is, because it's a loan, and I think that is the important thing, because it's a loan, you don't pay anything in the end. So you pay off, so she will pay off 2,000 rand every quarter, and then at the end of a period, there will be zero left that she needs to pay. Okay, so that's why we need to work out the present value. If they have said that she, and they could use this in a very same, so not if she borrowed, but if she has put away 2,000 rand every quarter, after 10 years, how much would she have earned? It would have been the future value amount. Okay, so that's just the trick between the two, is, yes, she is paying off a loan. So by paying off a loan, she then basically is needing the money up front, and then at the end of a period, the loan would have been paid off. Okay, so we are looking for option 3 as the correct one. Okay, so we still have time, so let's go. Okay, so this you can see a bit blurry, but it was taken from a previous exam paper. So let me just rewrite it a bit better. And then what we will need to do is we will need to solve the equation. Okay, so the equation is 2 times, then in brackets, 2y minus 1. And then again, outside brackets, minus 3y is equal to 4 minus y. Okay, so the first thing is to work out the bracket. So 2 times 2y is 4y. 2 times 1 is minus 2. Then I will just rewrite the rest as is. Then how I normally look at it is I will bring all the y's to the left. I've got the 4y minus 3y, and the minus y, if I take it to the left side, it will become plus y. Then I will take all the constants to the right-hand side. So I've got the 4, and then the minus 2, if I take it over, will become positive 2. So left-hand side, 4 minus 3 plus 1 is 2y, is equal to 6. So y is equal to 3. Okay, and this you can always test again back. So put 3 into that formula. So let's just always check. You can always check it. So 2 times 3 minus 1 minus 3 times 2. So brackets first. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 minus 1 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 minus 6 must be equal to 4. Okay, there we get a different answer. So let's just quickly. Okay, that must be not 2, but times 3. 3 times 3, so 10 minus 9 is equal to 1. And then on the, so this is left hand. And then on the right hand side, we can just check. The right hand side is 4 minus 3, which is equal to 1. So you can see left hand and right hand side is equal. So it does show us that y is equal to 3 is the correct answer. Okay, so let's look at another one. So another one that we need to solve the equation. So this one slightly different, where we now sit with the fractions. So let's quickly just rewrite it as is, and then we can change the fractions a bit. Okay, so first I will change the 2.5. So 2 times 2 is 4, 4 plus 1. So that's just easier just to make that quickly. Okay, so then I will check, okay, now I still working with 5 over 2, and here I work with 3 over 4. So if I want to get rid of the 4, I need to multiply across all of these by 4. So if I said times 4, that would cancel out. but then I need to do the same with the rest. So 5 times 4 over 2, and here 4 times 2x. Okay, so you can put everything on the 4, or you can basically get rid of that to make it simpler for you to work with as well. Okay, so the first one is 3x. Then if we simplify this, 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 4 twice, so we sit with 10 there, and we sit with 8x. So again, take all the x's to the left-hand side. So 3x minus 8x is equal to minus 10. So 3x minus 8x is minus 5x. That is equal to minus 10. So x will be equal to 2. Okay, which is option 1. And then you can also, let's check it if we have put in 2 into the left-hand side. So we sit with 3 times 2 divided by 4 plus 5 over 2. So that is 6 over 4 plus 5 over 2. If you add those two together, 6 over 4 is 1.5. 5 over 2 is 2.5. So that will equal to 4. And then on the right-hand side, we have 2 times 2, which is also equal to 4. So again, you can see left and the right-hand side is the same. So once again, just confirming that our question or our answer of 2 is correct. So always see if you have time, go and check if what you've done is correct, because like you see now, every time we were able to look at it and see if it is correct. So that you don't just because yeah, it is, if you have time, you can make just 100% sure that you get the marks. Okay, so let's look into another one. So again, from a previous exam paper when it was still pre-COVID, where it was paper-based. So let's quickly see. So let's just make it again a bit more readable. And then just divide by 2b. Okay, so when we look at this, we see there is a division. So what we are allowed to do when we get a division, we can transpose that by changing it. So we can multiply, but then it is thrown upside down. But that will also make it simpler for us that we can now, because now it is all multiplication that we can simplify. So let's quickly check. A2 and A2 cancels out. There's a 2 and a 2 that cancels out there. So there's B1, B2, so that will also cancel with that B2. So we've got at the top a to the power of 2 over 4. Okay, so let's just check. Not that one, not that one. Ah, there it is. And not that one. Okay, so yeah, it is a bit blurry, but basically we get that this one was a divide. So when we divide, you can't really just go and divide. But you are allowed to change it. The way we change it is by nearly swapping it upside down. And then one can get our answers from that. Okay, so simplification, where we first needed to check that we can change the division into multiplication, and when it was okay for us to be able to change and simplify with that. Okay, cool. Let's see another one. Simplification, but this time it is not multiplication or division. It is a plus, and they want to simplify this. Okay, this is a weird one to simplify. I probably would have just said something like, let's see what is the common denominator in both, and then we see what we get out of it. Else, what else can we do? So the other thing is maybe that we say, I'm just quickly looking at what is possible. So else what we can do is say, okay, but let's get okay, but that will not work if I just say, let's get a common denominator, because then we need to multiply by, let's just say, okay, this is a weird one, because none of those answers is actually very simplified of this. So let's say we need to multiply by this. Okay, so at the top, so the A and the A will cancel out, so we will sit with 2AB. Okay, that's not really gonna make any difference. And then what's gonna left with this one is 3A. So that really, so then I might say, okay, let's take out the A's in that top one. So what's left is 2B. And what's left is 3. over AB, and then one can nearly say, well, that and that cancels out. So it's 2B plus 3 over AB. So let's check if there is an answer like that. But really, this is, I would, yeah, so let's, okay, so no, there's not one that's 5. 2B plus 3 over AB. Okay, so that's actually what we're looking for, but honestly, is that simplified? It's just, yeah, for me, that's not really simplified. It is just um, looking at something that is written differently. So for me, that's not really simplified. Okay, so you might have gotten rid of the plus sign between the two. But yeah, okay, so let's say it's a bit simplified, but you still sit with a complex fraction, okay, that you need to deal with. So yeah, a bit simplified, but not really getting rid of the division, which I would have wanted to see, and you're still sitting with basically a bit of two terms at the top. Okay, so yeah, so I would have not said that is very simplified, but that is what they wanted. So again, if something like this is in the exam, what I will look at is just purely looking at it from what is all the options that they give us. Um, ooh, uh, see, you still have, if there was a B, yes, but because the three don't have a B, you can't also cancel that out. Um, if there was a B with a 3, then it would have been, yes, the B's can cancel out, and you would have been with 5 over A. But just because in here is not to be with that, you're not allowed to do that. So you still need to treat it as 2B plus 3, which is again still two separate terms, or two separate terms. So okay, so only if it had 3B, when you were allowed to do exactly what you mentioned, because then it would have been 5B over AB, and then you could have cancelled it out, but only if there was a B. Okay. And that is how they trick you, because there is that option. So and that is specifically have been put in there to trick you, because one easily can say, oh, there was a B there as well, and it cancels out, and you sit with 5 over A. Okay, this one was wrong. Okay, so but I want us just to look at how we would have done it, and also check these answers, and just see also nearly for yourself how, when you get something like this, how totally wrong it was. So obviously, I think they changed some of the numbers in the question, or they changed in the bottom some of the numbers, but a wooden lead pencil is in the shape of a cylinder. So already think about a pencil. It's basically the size of a pen. And then if you look at that size, there's no ways that you can get 20,000 liters into that pencil. So obviously somewhere here there was a mistake of this. So let's just work it out and see what it should have been. So the pencil is 22 centimeters long, and again that is nearly the length of a pencil or pen that you have, with a radius of 0.6 centimeters. Okay, so and the length of that they said was 22 centimeters. Okay, so there's the pencil, not very nicely drawn, but the head is. And then they say in the middle of that pencil, there is the lead component, and that lead component there has a radius of 0.2. Okay, so that one is radius 0.6, and that is radius of 0.2. What is the volume of wood in the pencil? Okay, so how we would then work this out is you get the volume of the whole pencil. So pi radius squared times height, and you subtract the component that is the lead, and what is left will be the wood. So pi, the radius of the whole thing was 0.6. The height was 22. And then if we do that for the lead component, again, it was pi, radius was 0.2, and the height again was 22 centimeters. Okay, so let's just work that out. So 0.6 times 0.6 times pi times 22. So the volume of the wood was 24.89, and then, the total pencil, the volume was 24.89, and then the component of the lead was 0.2, was a radius, so 0.2 times 0.2 times pi times 22, which is 2.765. So when you work those two out, we get a 22.1 centimeters to the power of 3. And then we need to put that into liters. So we would have divided by 1,000. So our answer would have been 0.0221 liters. Okay, so that's why it is probably supposed to be option 4, but yeah, I think they just made somewhere a big mistake in the numbers, or And you can just again think for yourself. If you look at that pencil in front of you, there's just no ways that 22,000 liters of wood. So it is probably the 0.0221. So yeah, somewhere obviously they made the mistake. But more important nearly is how one works it out. And how you work it out is to take the whole thing, the whole volume of the pencil, um, which we worked out as 24.89, and you take the volume of the lead, which is 2.76, and you subtract the two to get your final answer that we needed. Okay, so that is, again, so bit of measurement principles that we're applying, but also with that, how to subtract the one from the other one to get what is left. Okay, so that is the session for tonight. Next week we'll just continue, but I will schedule maybe already in this week more sessions so that we can just prep enough for your exam. So it might be, if we don't get a session in during the week, next week, it will be the week after that we will schedule a few during the week as well. But we'll definitely schedule more sessions for you that we can get just more practice in, so that you guys can just get yeah, more practice, because